let's talk offensive storylines. And by the way, how about the early practice times? Like, that's the one thing I've noticed with Matt Rule right away is they start things about an hour earlier on the field probably than what Frost's teams did.
How about that? I mean, we wondered if they would still have early practices, and they did. Now they're going to end at 8 o'clock on Monday. Remember Frost's first practice? I think it ended at 8 o'clock on a Monday.
Reading that schedule, I think there must be some class issues with the Monday, Wednesday, Fridays where they have to go that way.
Okay.
Because kids probably have to get to an 8:30 or 9:30 class. The Monday, Wednesday, Fridays are 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30.
So early starts. I love it. I don't know what's most beneficial to a football program. There's pros and cons. I think there's a lot of pros in getting everybody up and going.
I was always surprised. I mean, the Frost setup, they would push it late. I mean, like it'd be dang near noon. I'm like, and you'd kind of ask yourself, when do they get to go to class? I mean, so that's the one difference I've noticed right off this bat. This schedule it's mornings, but they're done by 10. Where under Frost it was probably about 11 when they'd get done with practice.
Yeah, Nebraska seems like a place where they go to class too.
You'd hope.
Yeah. I think they do.
Well, if you missed any classes on those teams they had this winter, I mean, your entire team had to run.
Yeah, they go to class here,
so they've got a pretty good accountability system. But let's talk offensive storylines.
Okay.
Spring practice here, opening headline. Obviously, quarterback. We won't really see much, if any, of Casey Thompson. But I think the Jeff Sims angle. What does he look like in his first week at Nebraska?
Is that the thing that interests you most
on offense? Yeah, because it's. I mean, there's a Billy Kemp angle. I'm interested to watch him. I want to see Xavier Betts. What a year off.
There's a lot.
I mean,
there's a lot of good angles. There are. Sims is arguably number one. It'd be much better if it was if Casey were.
If Casey
involved.
And him were at it, and it was a freaking just war every day.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if Chubba says, "Hey, wait a second, Sean Callahan, it could be a war every day with me." Chubba.
Well, what about Heinrich Harburg?
Yeah, Heinrich too.
What about Richard Torres?
I hope that's the reaction.
What about Logan Smothers?
Yeah.
I mean,
I hope that's the reaction is there is going to be a quarterback battle. You guys just don't know it. That's what I hope those guys are like. Chubba's cleared. He's ready to go. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in that camp of I don't think is anybody in the camp just handing the job to Sims?
No, and I want to see, like, what is Sims' level of what is his level of focus? Mm-hmm. What is his level to get this football team to play with him?
Yeah, we don't know anything about it.
Because I will say, I mean, Casey, when he got here, I do think at the beginning it was a little rocky, but he earned the respect of his teammates as the year went on. But at the very, very beginning, I wouldn't say it was all wine and roses with Casey Thompson in the locker room. But I think by the way he played on the field, he quickly earned a lot of respect.
Yeah. Now, you're right. I think you're right about that. That's a good assessment. I shouldn't say we don't know anything about Jeff Sims. We do know. We know what he did at Georgia Tech, and it was fine. He had some injuries. You look at that, but Sean, 6'4", 220, and can run. I mean, he's a serious runner, and he's a good runner. I mean, I don't just mean he's fast. He knows how to run a football, and he can throw it downfield. I mean, Rule has mentioned the NFL in regard to Sims. They have a lot of regard for him, and so when I say, Sean, when I say we don't know anything about him, I mean the intangibles mainly. Is he ready for this?
His style is like a Lamar Jackson style.
Yeah,
like that's how he plays. I'm not saying he's Lamar Jackson, but that's his style. He can throw and run at a high level.
He'll find here that the expectations there's a world of difference between playing football at Georgia Tech and playing football at the University of Nebraska. Now, intangibles, is he ready for that? Can he handle this place? Casey can. Casey handles it. Casey handles it really well, as a matter of fact. But I guess, Sean, those other guys, Chubba, Heinrich Harburg, Richard Torres, Logan. God, we always forget Logan. He's fine.
There's 4 guys that have started Power 5 games in that room. How about this, though? 2 of these guys, Sims and Thompson, have 20-plus Power 5 starts.
Yeah,
how many teams in America have 2 quarterbacks on the roster with 20-plus Power 5 starts?
Not a lot. Nebraska's blessed. I mean, they are blessed to have that. I don't think it's talked about enough that Nebraska has 2 grown men. They're going to be vying for that job. Casey's 24 years old. I mean, he can handle anything that comes down the pike.
And then your other guys have started games against Michigan. They've started games against Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, they've
Logan and Chubba. Yeah.
So there's, was it Minnesota too? Chubba started Minnesota.
Yeah, Chubba started Minnesota. Chubba, had a rough year. I mean,
there's our scholarship chart. I love the scholarship chart.
It's well documented that Chubba had a rough year. Now, I don't know where you go next. I mean, I'm most interested in the running backs, but the running backs' effectiveness is greatly impacted by the position that's probably most important. And it's the most important conversation and narrative going forward, which is, can Nebraska fortify its lines, both the offensive and defensive? If Nebraska is ever going to get back to sniffing the top 10 regularly, it's got to start there. And we don't know. And we still don't know what that's going to look like this year.
A.J. Allen is the wild card. Will he take a step forward with a full year of kind of...
So you want to go to running back? Well, yeah, you're right. He is the wild card.
I mean, I think, can he take a step forward? I'm just looking at our chart. That's why I moved on the running. Like I've got it right in front of me. And
yeah, I do too.
A.J. Allen, is he going to step forward or stay about where he's at? And I think he was ready to really break out. I mean, it's not out of the question that he was going to overtake Anthony Grant before.
No, it's certainly not out of the question. So he went down with his collarbone injury against Oklahoma, which was game 4. And he was starting to move into that realm where you were kind of questioning as you watched the games. Man, he runs it as well as Grant. Different. He's more of a glider.
Yeah, Indiana and Rutgers, it would have been nice to see him in those games.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and there's no reason for me to think that A.J. Allen won't do anything but continue to rise. He didn't hurt his leg. There wasn't a leg injury. There wasn't a knee injury. It was a collarbone. Hell, I broke my collarbone. It's hard. You could almost play with it. Well, it'd be really painful, but you see what I'm saying? There's nothing that should hold him back. It'll be exciting. No, that's exciting. That's an exciting room. Ramir Johnson back at running back is exciting. Gabe Irvin is he's a leader. He's a leader. He's a big, strong, fast running back. And then Emmett Johnson is waiting in the wings. He played 3 games of special teams or 4 games of special teams last year. So that room is loaded up, but Sean, they got to get movement up front.
Yeah, it starts with that line and Raiola, the one coach, Donovan Raiola, that was retained. Can that continuity help? And I think the other thing about this spring for the offense, can they create a system that complements that line better? Because what they did with the straight handoff game and some of the things they did to run the ball under Mark Whipple, it didn't the minute Scott Frost was fired, a lot of the Frost elements left the building and they went straight Whipple. The Frost elements complemented the players a little better the way they ran the ball, where under Whipple it just wasn't a very consistent running attack.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know there's different ways to look at it.
I look at Donovan Raiola on the sidelines, how mad he was. There was some friction between him and Whipple.
Yeah.
And why was there friction? Because
I don't know.
They were doing stuff that weren't really helping the team.
That's probably true. But it helps the team to blow holes up for your running back. I don't care what you're running. If there's no room to run, it doesn't. This is where me and you don't necessarily agree. I don't care what the offensive coordinator's doing. If you don't get blocking up front, Sean, it doesn't matter who's calling plays.
If you junk it up though a little bit, it helps.
Yeah.
And that was that Oregon offense that they ran before. Yeah. They could kind of muck it up enough to create. I mean,
that works in some conferences.
It works for about 2.5 quarters against Iowa. Remember Logan?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it did. And then it kind of caught up with them in the end.
And then they took the middle linebackers out, put them on the perimeter, and Nebraska's center the interior line couldn't get a seal for them to get a run game with the middle.
Sean, they got to get more up front.